So in this video, we're going to talk about comparatives, how to compare two things by degree or amount of difference. So I have a big list here for you, a chart actually, and we're going to take a look at this piece by piece. First, we're going to take a look at the top and the bottom sections. You'll notice over here that I have some mathematical signs. This one meaning more than, equal to, and less than. These mean that whatever adjective or adverb or noun we have here that we are comparing, this focuses on more of that adjective, of that noun, of that quality. This is the same amount, and this is less of that adjective or adverb or noun. Okay, so let's take a look at this idea of more than and this idea of less than. With this section and this section, we're using the comparative word than. Than is a preposition or a conjunction that talks about differences between two things. So when you're focusing on difference, use than. If you are focusing on similarity, that's using as. Okay? Besides using than, we also need a comparative form of an adjective, an adverb, or a noun. With the adjective, there are two ways of making a comparative. If an adjective is one syllable, hot, cold, nice, you add ER to the end to make the comparative. Hotter, colder, nicer. If the adjective is two syllables and ends in a Y, sunny, pretty, windy, you take out the Y, put IER. So pretty is two syllables, pretty, ends in a Y. Take out the Y, IER, prettier. I hear people make a mistake sometimes of using these together. You do not use them together. It's only one or the other. You don't say more, prettier. If it fits the rules to be the ER form, it's only the ER form. If it is two syllables and does not end in a Y, or three or more syllables, you need to use more. So beautiful, beautiful, three syllables. We use more, beautiful, no beautifuler. We also use more with adverbs and nouns. You hopefully know that adjectives describe nouns and adverbs describe verbs. So if I want to describe a chair is a noun, that's going to use an adjective. If I'm describing an action like walk or run, then I will use an adverb. You can commonly tell adverbs by the ly, but that's a generality, not always true, but very commonly true. Commonly is a good example. Then we have two nouns here, and I've taken two nouns to show you an example of a count noun here and a non-count noun here. Coffee is non-count. You don't count one coffee, two coffees, three coffees. Well, I mean, if you're at Starbucks, you might hear that, but you're talking about one cup of coffee, 2 cups of coffee. It's not really one coffee, 2 coffees. But other words like people, 1 person, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, that is a count noun. Why does this matter? Things like this matter. Here's why. You'll notice that there's a star here after many. Many and fewer are only used for count nouns. So with people, many is good. You can say many more people than, but you cannot say many more coffee than. This is only possible with people. Now, people can also be used with these other ones too. It's just that you have to be careful with many. It's very specific for count nouns only. All right, so if I'm comparing two things, I have a collection of dolls that people have given me from different countries. And I could say, these two dolls, this doll is substantially larger than this doll. Okay, so this doll is substantially larger than this doll. What if I want to use the adjective small? I can say this doll is considerably smaller than this doll. All right, so I'm showing differences. I should also point out this is a much greater degree up here, and this goes to a small degree. So if you're talking about much, many, considerably, or substantially, that's a large degree. Somewhat is a medium degree, and slightly and a bit are small degrees. These same words are used down here, but here the focus is on less of this quality, of this adjective, adverb, or noun. So we can't use the word more, and we can't use an ER if we're focused on smaller. We use less or fewer. You see this little star next to fewer? It's also only for count nouns. Somewhat fewer people, okay? You'll notice it does not make any difference here if the adjective is one syllable or two syllables or ends in Y. It doesn't matter. All adjectives can use less. And less is also used for adverbs and for non-count nouns. All right, so if I'm talking about, let's talk about the quality of flexibility. I have this doll right here, and I have this doll right here. This doll has flexibility. This doll does not. So I would say that, basically they don't have the same degree of flexibility at all. So I would say this doll right here is considerably, well, up here I need to use considerably more flexible than this doll. This doll is substantially less flexible than this doll. So a greater amount of flexibility or a smaller amount of flexibility. What about this part right in here? If you want to say that two things are the same, this plate is exactly as big as this plate, equal in size. You can use exactly or just. as, as, to show the same thing. If you want to say that there is only a small distance from the same and the reality, you would use almost or nearly. So, this doll is almost as tall as this doll. If you use these, that's a greater difference. This doll is not quite as big as this doll. And this doll is not nearly as big as this doll. So this is a much larger difference. What else? You know, I think sometimes people get confused also. Do you need to include the more or the less or the fewer? Yes. It is not possible to say this, let's see, what would be an example? She is substantially beautiful than. You need to use a comparative form. That is required. These are not required. These are for you to decide if you want to express the idea of degree or amount. Then you can use these to do that. But these parts here, you need to use to show comparative. So, I hope you enjoy using your comparatives. Go around and compare everything you see.